They're like, can you do us a favor and take pictures of the wedding? I'm like, your mother's. Annabelle. Annabelle's wedding.
Years ago.
I know.
That was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years. Years.
Okay. So, this is my presentation. It's camera basics by me. Thank you.
I know she did. I thought you were a camera editor.
There's something else that's supposed to happen, but because it's all right there. Like, it was supposed to be an explosion, like legit. You can hear the poof. It didn't happen. Okay, this is the table of contents, what we're gonna learn today. Camera parts, basically what every camera should have and how to use them, and how to find them if you buy a camera of yourself. The big three, which are it's called the triangle, because they all affect each other. So it's the ISO, the diaphragm, and then the shutter speed. Camera modes, you know how I always told you not to use automatic and to use manual? Okay. And then composition, different shots and angles you can use to be dynamic. Okay. Clickbait right there, right? The viewfinder is the hole where you look through the camera, right? Basically what you're seeing and what you're going to capture when taking the picture. That's what it's called, just the viewfinder, or in Spanish, el visor. Right? On the red over here, that's the shutter release button. You press it halfway and you focus on the subject. You press it fully and you take the picture. Right? The green one is usually the one you use to change the aperture or the shutter speed depending on what camera you have. On mine, it changes the aperture. So if I change that one, the one that says f.1 point whatever numbers, it goes up or lower if I move that one. The yellow one is the flash. You press it and the flash just pops up. Let me show you. It's like magic. The flash?
Oh, you break camera?
Oh, yeah. Be quiet.
Let's go. There's one camera.
Wait, do you have the same camera? Is that the camera from church?
No, this is mine.
You have the same exact one.
No, that's
No, it's not. It's a different brand.
it feels more lighter.
Yeah.
It's a Canon. It literally is Canon.
Right? So I was saying, you press this button right here, because this picture's of my camera. You press this button right here and it just pops up once it has it on, right? So let's see. That's the flash. Press the button and it pops up. Want me to flash you? Let me put the, I'll do that later, because I gotta show you something. Okay, and then obviously the blue one is the on and off switch. Some of you guys don't know what that is, because I gave you a camera before and you're like, why is it not taking pictures? Because it's off. You guys gotta think, okay, right? Now, oh, wow. It did not look like that. I don't know what happened. On my screen, it looks fine. Okay, so, you wanna see it? It's pretty clear, because I took a nice picture. I don't know why it looks like that. It doesn't look the same. Yeah, so. Yeah, okay.
I got focus.
Okay, right?
Like the camera. It gets focused and not focused.
Yes. Okay. On the purplish fuchsia color, that's a display. Basically, that's where you see the menu. Right? Say you want to change the settings or something, you go through there and you look there. And then this one right over here, the one in yellow, depending if your camera allows it or not, you can change how you look through the camera. So say you don't want to look through the viewfinder, you click that button and it looks like a normal phone. You take it like this instead of like that. The red one, you can't see it that well, but it's the aperture for me, right? So remember I told you the green one from last slide? That one where it moves the shutter speed and everything? Right? If I press the red one and move the green thing, it changes the aperture. It took me a long time to figure out, man. The camera's different. The pink one on top is where you zoom in, right? Say you want to look at a picture, you go to this blue one over here, and it's called the playback. Basically, it's gonna show you like a gallery of the pictures you took already, right? When you say, I took a picture, but I don't know where it is, you would press the button and you'll see it there. And if you want to take a closer look of it, you go to the pink things and just zoom in or zoom out according to how you want to. And then, well, the orange one is the menu, you know, to change anything you need to. What's that? It's the settings of the camera. Oh.
And I said AZ, not
AZ, okay. So as I was saying, right? You have to be very careful with the lens because if you don't handle it right, you're just gonna ruin it.
What do you mean?
So, what do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, shoot. Oh, no.
It's a secret.
Don't worry about that, right? So, right, I have a cover because I don't want any dust or debris to get in here. Because if it does, it might impact how the camera looks and you might see spots in it. Because this thing is very sensitive. It's supposed to be very quick so they take the picture. Huh?
It's like a baby, but an expensive baby.
I think babies are more expensive.
No, you gotta
To take care of it?
No. I mean, like,
Right.
to make it.
Personally,
So you guys see this square right here?
it's over there.
Or you guys see the square here?
Yeah, it looks like a circle.
That's a square. Right now. And then you see the square in the lens,
yeah.
right? You're supposed to align this right here
And then turn it left.
and then turn it until you hear the click. If you don't hear the click, that means you didn't do it right, it's gonna fall off.
Imagine.
Yeah, it's very expensive. I just bought one. It cost me like $300.
Oh, you bought the wrong one?
Okay, let's see.
The long one? Yes. So it's the same process. When buying a lens for a camera, you gotta make sure it's very compatible with it. Because if it's not, then it's not gonna work out for you.
You just wasted $300.
Yes. So see, again, the square's also here,
How much
on
is
the side of it.
How much is the camera?
The camera? This one?
Okay, what costs
I'm not
more?
sponsored, so I
What
can't
costs
say
more,
it.
the lens or the camera?
Why?
Para que se oiga, please.
No. You're gonna have to edit all this out, Chaggy. Why you guys get higher? I'm not that short, Chaggy. Come on. Okay. All right. And then voila, camera lens. Yeah.
Take a photo of it.
No. Not with this one. So, a problem Andres had when taking pictures, right, in the Cena de Matrimonios, was that he decided to use the long lens, the one that's for far away, on people like this close. So, say you turn out fine here, right? But for him to take the picture, he had to go all the way back here, like that, to take it normally, because he didn't change the lens. Had he, huh?
Right there.
Not right there. So say from here, he'd be somewhere to the ladder or maybe back.
No, like, where was he when you took the photo?
Where was he? Okay, so you know how they decorate for Cena de Matrimonios, right? Yeah. Right? So there's a table right here, right there, right? Let's say he took a picture over here. He would have been halfway across the room just to take a picture of them on the table right there. He would have been over there next to the window just to take a picture because he didn't think about changing the lens. No, he didn't. Some were too close.
That's questionable.
Okay, so I taught you how to put it on, right? So if I told you guys to do it, you'd be able to.
Yeah.
No?
I could do it right now.
Do it right now?
Me too.
You sure?
Yeah.
No.
Positive. 1,001%.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to the big three, the ISO. Yeah, you can't see it there. They took a bad picture.
What does ISO stand for?
What does ISO stand for?
iOS.
Bro, that.
It's Not gonna lie, I forgot. I forgot. They taught us that like on my second year of high school, and then I forgot about that. All I know is that it stands for international and then standardized something, which doesn't make any sense why it would stand for that. So I didn't think about it because it didn't make sense for me. Like, why would it be called like a?
It could stand for international support of.
No. Okay. The iOS, Damien, the ISO, right, is the camera's sensitivity to the light, right? So you know when you wake up, you go to school, and then you go outside, and the light hits you right in the eyes, and then you're like this. Yeah? That's basically the same thing for the camera. The higher it is, the more sensitive it is to the light. And if you make it too sensitive because you're trying to compensate for there not being any light, and it gets too grainy. Yeah, you see that picture right there? That thing is the graininess to it. Or you can just say the noise.
That's not green. I heard green too.
My bad, graininess. Right? So usually it's very dark when it's cena de matrimonios, right? That's why I usually have to use the flash. Because if I don't use the flash and I try to compensate for the light that's not there, all pictures will turn out like that. Yes, but only certain tables.
Oh, yeah. They only have certain ones.
Yeah, so say someone's in the back, they have no light there. In the middle, they have perfect light, or even it's too much. So I just use the flash, and everybody complains that they can't see, and I blind them and everything. Right? But I changed it, okay? I changed it.
Wow.
So in the menu, there's a thing called, if you go to the menu, you see flash, because it depends how organized it is. Because mine just goes by settings. If you use the pastor's camera that has more menu settings than I do, then you'll see one that says lighting, flash, and focus. Right under there, you're gonna see how much flash you wanna put. It's a fraction. So it goes like 1/3 or something, right? It's a third of the light I would use normally. So I changed that setting, right? And what that does is instead of, flashing the half of the room with the light, it would only go like that to only one person, right? Just quick, fast, and it's gonna be a lot less light. And it still works the same way as well. Okay, the diaphragm. Well, the diaphragm is two things. If you're talking about camera things, it's the hole on the lens, right? If you're talking about anatomy, it's right here when you sing, how you have to press here to make sure your voice is stable. That's the diaphragm as well. Okay, it's the size of the opening of the camera. It also affects the depth of field. The depth of field is, let me take this off, right? Depth. Like how deep something is? Depth. Yeah. You can read it right there, guys. Depth of field.
I said that.
Okay? Yeah. Right. So are you guys, can you guys see the numbers? It goes from 2.8 to 4 and then, yeah? Right? So if you guys notice, then as the number gets bigger, the aperture closes, right? What those black things represent is the blades inside the lens, right? Because it comes in the lens, not in the camera itself. Right? So say if you put your hands like this and you close it to make a tiny hole, does a lot of light go in there?
Yes.
A lot? No? No, right? Make a hole with your hand. Right? You see the light going through, right? No? Not of it. So close them more. Do you see any more light going in there? Or even less?
Certain place. Only to one certain place.
Okay. Well, I'm going to explain that later. Right. So the bigger the number, the more it closes, right? And the less light gets in there. That's why when you put the aperture to a high number, the picture gets darker and you have to compensate by either changing the ISO or changing the shutter speed, right? Because not a lot of light is getting in there. Yeah, it's the one I explained here. And then depth of field, right? If your your aperture, shut up, Andres. If your aperture is a high number, right? It's basically saying it's very focused on the thing, right? So you'll see everything with clarity, right? Clarity. It's gonna be clear. Everything's sharp, right? But the lower number it is, your subject will be the only thing clear and the background will be blurry. That's a thing we had to do at my school.
Is that a good thing?
Is that a good thing? Depends on what kind of picture you want. If you just want the person in the middle with nothing in the background, then yes, it's good. If you just want to take a picture of Kata with the danzoras around her and see the danzoras as well, then you'd probably want the higher aperture.
So if you're dancing, how high would
How high the aperture? Well, it depends. Do you want everybody to be seen?
No, yeah.
Because if you want Kata, you probably have to do F 5.6, right? 5.6 or 4?
If you use one Kata?
What is she looking at? Oh, you could just put an 8, right?
I guess, but remember, the bigger it is, the more light gets in there as well. So you're trying to balance it out to see which one gives you the best lighting. Okay. Remember I told you guys that right? The big three, it's a triangle. You change one thing and you have to change other things to make sure it balances it out. Yes, because if you don't balance it out, everything's gonna either be too dark or too light.
So like for everybody will be F 2.0, right?
What?
Huh? There's no F2.0. It's F2.8.
Oh yeah, 2.8.
Still, give me one.
2.8.
Okay.
2.8.
Right. So let's think about it this way. Say you're gonna go into a park. You want to take pictures of the flowers, but you only want one flower because the rest look ugly. Right?
If there's flowers.
If there's any flowers, right? You would choose the lowest aperture to make sure that that one flower you chose stands out and the rest are just blurry. They're just background.
So F16 or 22?
Hmm?
F16 or 22?
No, bro.
I,
Literally said that if
So like for the biggest one, like it takes one of the flowers, but the rest looks blurry.
no, okay. The smallest number does that. So the 2.8, if you use that one for the picture you took the picture of, the one it's focused on, would be nice and clear, but the rest would be blurry, right? But say you're back here taking a picture of Kata, but you also want to see the danzoras right next to her. You would use a higher f or aperture to ensure that although Kata is in the center, you can still see the other ones and they look clear as well, right? But really, it's just a matter of like if you actually want to do it. If you don't want to do it like that, you can just put f8 or f5.6, and that just keeps it normal.
What would be the highest? 'Cause, like,
The highest?
yeah, because like no, 'cause, like,
It depends on your camera.
there's decimal points and some of them are not. So which one are bigger? The one that has decimal points or that one decimal?
Think of it like a number scale, right? Think of it like a number scale. So you have 1, 2, and then you have 2.5, right? It's just in the middle. And then you have 3, it's just like a number, normal. So in the order it usually goes, it's the order how bigger it is as well. Right? Also, the values of the aperture change depending on what camera you have. Because the Pastures one, I could reach all the way to like f27, yes. No, not the Sony, the Nikon.
The Sony or
The Nikon.
Oh, the big one's the
the
Nikon.
big one's a Nikon.
The big one's the Sony is the small one.
the smallest one?
Okay,
Andres has the smallest camera ever.
wait, where'd he go?
You want to go upstairs this year.
There's this
Okay, now this one is the shutter speed, right? This one is measured by fractions of a second. Just 1 second. Unless you have something higher than that, and then there'll be more than a second.
Why did you give me fractions? I
because it is fractions. So let's say you have 1 second, right? The shutter speed is only a part of that second. That's how it's measured. So it's the amount of light that reaches the image sensor proportional to the exposure time. Basically, it means
Bro, because that's how it is.
No, it's because low.
the second to last one.
It's the light and the last one.
Okay.
This one?
Yeah, both of them.
That's
Oh, yeah.
1/4 and 1/2.
Yeah, I know. Now I can see. When I go like that.
They're supposed to be running, right?
Yes. So, as I was saying, the bigger the number, the faster the thing closes. Right? So have you guys noticed if you change the shutter speed, it goes sometimes like that, and then sometimes it goes, right? It takes longer. It's because you guys changed it to a different value for a second. So, huh?
Say I changed the value.
Yes.
Say what value I changed it.
Well, it depends on what you moved on the camera.
But what are the options?
Well, it's, again, it depends on the camera itself. Right? Because usually it goes from, if you move it, right, to the left, it should go lower, which the number gets higher because it's slower and the second is divided less and less times. Right? So say this is a second, right? And then half a second would be like that. It's faster. So as you can see, the one on top, which is 1/500, right? That's basically a second, right? That's how much the second is divided. So if you're trying to take a picture of someone running, it would be like this fast. If you changed the shutter speed to anything lower, say half a second, which is going to take a long more time, is going to be slower, and that's why you get blurry. Half a second. Yes, this is by seconds. So you know how much is a second?
Yeah, 60 seconds. Oh, a second. Sorry. I'm thinking of a minute.
60 milliseconds.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
If someone's just standing there like straight, can we still use 1/500?
Well,
You-
Just standing straight.
it's like Pastor, when he smiles, you gotta get it fast.
Yeah, you can't just like.
You can't just wait till he's
Yeah, 'cause
smiling.
Yeah, and then he starts smiling.
Because Pastor just laughs and he go like that, and then he just stops like.
Yes.
That
Yes.
or his eyes are closed like this.
But I remember
So,
if
like,
it's darker or
when
something, or
I-
lighter.
Yeah.
When I
You change the shutter speed.
And when I
Just
see
like
Mm.
when I see him like making a joke, like sometimes he laughs. I'm like,
Yes.
And then it takes like 5 seconds to take a picture.
What?
Yes. Okay. So that is the shutter speed. Right? So you can take a picture of someone just standing like that with 1/500, right? The thing is, what are you going to take a picture of? Are you taking a picture of the movement itself, how he talks? Or are you going to take a picture of his expressions, the way he talks? Right? So in that case, you could use it because the way he talks and the way he expresses himself is fast. Right? But you could also use a lower one in case it's someone like Anissa, because she doesn't really do them. She looks down, so she doesn't really move that much. If you want to take a picture of her.
When she laughs, she has her eyes closed.
Yes. Right? Or you can also use a lower one for the people listening to the preaching, right? Because they're just sitting down, they're just watching, they're not moving, they're not talking, or they shouldn't be talking, right? So you can just use a lower one and just take the picture like that because you're not trying to get the movement. But the thing is, the higher that number is, the darker it is. Because say you close your eyes fast, right? Does a lot of light get in there? Can you see? No, right? It's black.
Well, not really.
Well, okay, it depends on if you're facing light or not. Right? So that's the same thing. If it's too fast, not a lot of light gets in there. If you use the smaller one, it's slower, but you do let a lot more light get in there. Because instead of it closing like that, it closes like this, and there's a light in there. Do you guys understand?
No.
If I asked you one by one to take pictures with my camera of, I don't know, Andres running, would you be able to?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can run faster than the dog.
Okay. There,
Yeah?
there.
No, though. Not though.
You just lied to us last time.
I didn't lie to you. I just said if. If it's a big word. Right. So this is the different types of modes and the camera, right? Do you know what M stands for? Manual, right? Do you know what manual is? No, manual is basically you change the settings yourself, right? To according to the picture you want.
Oh my god.
What's A?
I don't know.
Auto. Mobile. Auto.
Amen.
Auto something.
Automatic.
Automatic.
Okay, right. Automatic basically is for like very, very, very beginners. Automatic, basically it means it does everything for you. It changes the ISO, it changes the shutter speed, it changes the aperture to whatever you are facing. And all you have to do is take the picture and make sure it turns out good. That's it.
I want that.
I mean, I guess you could do that and get the easy way out. But really, are you going to learn anything?
No.
Yeah. I learn auto all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. What?
Right, but it doesn't always work out well because sometimes it does too much of our value. So sometimes you take the picture, but oh man, it's too bright. It doesn't look good. You're taking a picture of the wedding dress, but it's too bright and you can't see any of the details in the dress.
Oh man.
No details? Usually there is.
Like I mean, I can have Abigail.
Oh yeah, but you could just edit them, right?
You could edit them, but you would lose any of whatever value the first picture had. Right? Because say it's too bright. If you try to make it darker, you're going to make everything else darker as well. And then it won't turn out as good as you wanted it to be. Yes?
What happens if you edit it, right? Like if it's like far and then if you see las cercas, like when you edit it, would it look bad or good? Still, like would it still look good?
It depends on your camera. Some cameras are very good, right? You can take a picture from far away and then just zoom in and look perfectly fine, right? But if other cameras, you take the picture, you try and zoom in, but it then looks blurry, it looks grainy. It's not even focused anymore.
Like the Sony one.
Like the Sony one, yes.
It
It,
says Sony.
it would basically be like that too.
Sony and TV.
Okay, now what is it? The angles? Oh, never mind. Composition.
Oh, piso suelo.
Imagine forgetting.
The rule of thirds, right? You don't have to do this. It's just a thing about preference, right? Because you might like the picture with the thing in the middle, or you might like the one where it's on the side. The rule of thirds is just basically you put the image or the subject of your picture, right? And one of the corners in the middle. You see those? How there's 4 of them? Top left, top right, bottom right, right? To make it look, I wouldn't say look better, but more dynamic or different, or just to see more of the background, you would use the rule of thirds. Personally, I use this one. Yeah, personally, me, an adduct, right? I use it for taking pictures of the pasture, right? I use the middle one a lot when he talks right here, right? When I take a picture of him dead on right here, I use the middle one. But if I want to take a picture of him talking to someone over here, I want to go to the side and I want to make sure he's one in the corners to make it seem like he's talking to someone over there. Yeah, basically. Right, and then the low angles. Can you tell me how the camera has to be to get the low angle one? You sure? Yes, you have to be laying down and take a picture of that. No.
You could be sitting down and it's like that.
Yes, like that. You would have to be looking up at the subject, right? Do you know what a low angle makes the subject look like? What?
Super tall.
Super tall?
Super
Like a human being. Like you're looking at it.
I guess you will look like a bug looking up.
How are you gonna take a picture of a dog laying down?
Like this? What?
That's a different angle, right? So then, how would you take the high angle one? From where? Yeah, like that.
Dutch angle is like this.
How does the dog look like there? How does it look like?
It looks super small.
Like a peasant.
Like a pheasant? Okay. What about Dutch angle? Sideways. Yes. That you don't have to be 90-degree angles, just as long as there's an angle there. That's why it's called Dutch angle. Right? So that just makes it look more cool, amazing, whatever. Usually people that use like, I haven't seen anybody in TikTok use that, but I've used it lots of models take a picture, right? That the camera, they take it like that so that they look like they're leaning on something, like she is right there. They look better, they're promoting the clothes more. Speaking of clothing, you don't have the limited edition merch here.
Yeah.
It's photography, this should be two there. It's mine, they're both mine.
Okay, but can you manual?
No,
Are you sponsored?
Full body.
no, I'm not sponsored.
Then tell me
Full body.
the price you have.
Okay. These are some basic shots of how you could take pictures of the pasture, right? Yeah. How? Or anything else, to be honest. You don't it doesn't have to be pasture.
You can't be close up, bro.
Close up is all.
Yeah, you can. It depends on the lens. Okay, so full body. That's if you want to take a picture of him fully. But you wouldn't want to do it here because it's in the way, isn't it? You'd probably want to do it where he's over here talking to someone. If you want to see him walking like this. Sometimes, like very rarely. Medium shot is from the stomach up. Usually the ones we take for pasture. Right? So he's talking. And then you take a picture of him up and him doing something. A medium close-up is from the chest up. Right? That's mostly for like a portrait of something. Right? Or maybe even the, what's it called? The people sitting down, taking a picture of a mirror. So you don't have to see how they're sitting down sometimes because it doesn't look that flattering.
Close up, that's medium close up, and then second medium close up.
You know it's because she made it.
Okay, and then close up is just like close up from the neck up, right? Those are basic shots. I guess you could use that. I'm not creative enough for that. And then you have the extreme close-up. It doesn't, It's not called Adoracion. No, it's not. It's called extreme close-up because you're very, oh wait, I put twice. Extreme close-up. Yeah, don't mind that, right? It's just extreme close-up. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a part of the body. It could just be a close-up of, maybe someone writing down in the notebook. It could be a close-up of the pandero when they're smacking it like that.
Smacking it.
Sorry, hitting it. Clap. I don't know. What's the word?
You smacking it. You're smacking it.
Which other one?
The other one before that, you didn't take a picture.
I did it. Why do you guys didn't do it?
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm not always in my phone.
Whoa!
You guys gotta chill out, man.
Yeah, chill, brother. Chill.
Okay, you guys done? You got it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
She hasn't got it. I got it.
Okay.
She does. I was just like,
Right. Another thing is, you can do a close-up of, extreme close-up, my bad, on the pasture when he's playing the piano. So you see how, I probably shouldn't leave the frame. So you know how when he's playing, right?
Yeah.
And you see his fingers doing like that, crazy things he does, right? I can't do that. I tried to. And you can take a picture of that. That would be extreme close-up because you're only focusing on one thing.
But why would you want to do that?
Maybe you just want a picture of him playing the piano.
oh, that's what I did last time when I overshowed it. That's when you focus on the pastor, but like you focus at the pastor, but
Um,
you go like right here, and everything comes out.
But no one takes a picture.
Cállense, pero I wanna use-
you gotta chill out. You could do that because you know what I used to do is I would just go up on the thing, but I don't know if they're allowed to do that anymore. You'd have to ask
The what? Get up on the what?
on the brown thing here, right? So say where Buddy is. You should around. Hi, Buddy.
Hi, buddy.
Okay, right? So you see where he is? I would stand up on there and go around the camera just to make sure I'm not obstructing anything. And then I would take a picture here, get close up to them. Maybe I want a picture of Doris, where she's focused and can't make any faces at me, right?
The guy's always looks straight at the camera so he doesn't get the photo right.
Or before that picture, the camera used to be more forward. I would still go around it, but under it. So say the camera's right here, focused on something. I would go like that, just under it and go on right here where the sunflowers are and take a picture of Pastor. Right there up close. I don't know if you can still do that. You'd have to ask. And then the one I told you guys to do is over the shoulder, right? Take a picture of someone like that, listening to Pastor or looking at Pastor. So you see how it's blurry?
Yeah.
Right here you're focusing on the person. Basically, it's kind of like their point of view. So it's the person doing something, right? So if you take a picture of someone in the back, you take it over their shoulder, make sure they're in focus, and then make sure the pastor's slightly in focus so that they can see who he's looking at, right? Or even if you're trying to make sure he's writing something, pencil or with phone, like I do with my mother, she's taking a picture, I take it like that. Or if it's like Anissa who brings a computer, you do it over the shoulder with her typing.
I thought you said who breaks
Who breaks
a
in the stadium or what? In that
In the stadium.
Stadium? I don't know.
No, I meant when she's taking notes in the back. Right? Maybe you would have to ask. You probably need a uniform to do that. To be in school. I can't say it, never mind. I'm not gonna bother. Huh?
in traje?
No. I can't even say it anymore. Just to be not noticeable. No, you guys, no. You don't know what I'm saying either.
Invisible.
No.
and unnoticeable.
I guess closest word, but it's not that one either. Right? Because remember, you guys weren't there, but this was maybe half time. We went to the retiro, right?
Yeah.
The one where I had to take pictures for the full 4 days. You were there halfway. Me and Deli went there. Yeah. Right? We had a uniform there, which was just all black. Pants, black. Shoes, black. Sweater, if you had anything black, and the shirt that's black. Yes, basically what Naya is wearing. Just to make sure that... I didn't hear anything. I don't know what he said. Don't repeat it to me. Right? You'd basically wear that. Do you know why? You'd have to wear all black,
So you could disappear? Or like they can see you?
I guess.
The color like classy more.
Yeah, okay. So, since it's a dark color, it's not very, I wouldn't say attractive. Yeah, that's when you have someone's attention. That's basically what that means. Attracting, yes. Right, so if you go up here, you see how most of the equipment is black, right?
Yeah.
You just blend in with it.
But, so, yeah, it's kind of white too. The back.
Right? So you'd be up here, you're trying to fix something and the cable's over there, and you wear black. They're not gonna notice you're there unless they're really looking for it. They'd be like, where's Waldo? Right? And then thank you. Okay, I was gonna have some games, but like, yeah, like trivia games. But you guys don't have phones, do you? That's what I'm saying. Not everybody would be able to play, and that wouldn't be fair either. I'm not buying you nothing.
Oh, you can pick like who, but you put the answers here.
Partner.
And then you do the math and see how it
Let's do partners.
Too much work.
Partners?
Partners, para que it be fair. Para que sea fair.
2 teams?
I need a partner. No, I'm good.
Yeah, she doesn't want to play.
You just ask the question that we raise the hand and we answer.
Yeah. We got our pointies.
I have a pointy.
Our pointies.
pointies. Yes? I'll just leave? Okay.
It was very funny.
Did I give you the cue? No.
I'm proving your point wrong. What do I call
My point wrong? Okay, right? I'm sorry you couldn't come. You missed out. Just saying. Okay? But I hope to see you next time if I do this again. Just saying. I might not be here. I'm very busy. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I'll see you next time. A clap, please. Clap.
Again. I thought you were gonna do that.
Again, you actually wanted to listen? I thought you said you were going to prove me wrong.
Yeah. Go like that. Just edit it.
Blink.
Go like this.
Yeah, you can just edit it.
Like that?
Yeah,